is going on, guys? KJ here, today bringing you episode number 1 of my fantasy franchise mode using one of the most famous teams in NHL history, or NHL movie history that is. We are going to be using the Minneapolis Mighty Ducks. Yes, I have gone through and created every player from the D1 to D3 movies, and I have put them on one team, and we are going to be running through a franchise mode in NHL 18 with every player that has ever existed on the Mighty Ducks roster throughout all 3 of the movies. Every single person has been customized for all their quirks. So for example, Fulton Reed has a killer slap shot, but he has some of the worst slap shot accuracy imaginable. Mendoza is incredibly fast, but can't shoot for anything. Can't shoot for shit. I don't know if I should say that or not, but he can't shoot. So every single player on the team has their quirks from the movie worked into their stats, and it should make for some interesting results while doing season sims. And you know what, I may just hop into a few games on occasion just to see how it actually plays out, because I'm pretty sure this team would be really interesting to actually play with against some pretty tough AI, just to be completely honest. So here we go, the Minneapolis Mighty Ducks. Now, I actually, as you saw, I had to substitute in this team for the Vegas Golden Knights in order to be able to use the custom roster. I can't do the expansion draft and actually have a full-blown custom fantasy roster. It just doesn't work like that. So the Vegas Golden Knights are no longer in this franchise mode. It is now the Minneapolis Mighty Ducks from District 5. So here we go, moving on to the division realignment. You know, I probably should move this team into the Central Division just for geography's sake, but I'm going to leave them in the Western Conference. I don't really want to move anyone over or not. I feel like this will probably give us the best chance. This might be the weakest division there is at this given time. Maybe not. All the divisions are pretty balanced, but we're just going to leave it as it is for the Pacific Division and move on. This is what we're going to be working with as far as franchise stats go. Owner mode will be on. Fantasy draft is off. The salary cap is on for this. I've gone through and set everyone's salary to reflect their overalls in the team. I'm not going to get fired, so GM firing's off. CPU trades are on. Morale is off. Waivers are on. Assistant coach editing lines is off. I want to be the person that sets lines, because when we pick up new draft picks and they get into the NHL throughout the years, I don't want to have them necessarily taking over top line spots. I'd rather have them eventually, you know, start working out the 4th line and stuff like that. I want to keep the team as true to the movies as possible, except relocation is on, just because we may end up relocating to a Disney related city in the future just to keep the theme fresh. And auto sign free agents off. Obviously, moving on, we have our overview for this franchise mode. All-star skill level, 25 years, 3-minute periods, full sim. Everything's pretty much the same as it is stock, except I changed the difficulty to all-star and I lowered the period length in case we do actually want to hop in a few games once in a while. It'll be a little bit quicker. Without further ado, let's hit start our career and move right into everything. Alright guys, so because I am not doing an expansion draft, I feel like I should at least go through the team and show you guys exactly who is on our roster, because I'm sure a lot of you may not remember everyone who's been in all the Mighty Ducks movies, and this way you can at least get some idea for what our team is looking like going into the season. So if we go into edit lines right here, this is what we're looking like right now. So our first line, we have Ikayyjayy, Adam Banks, and Ken Wu. I'm pretty sure I had Adam Banks as a center. He's just moved there to make our top 2 lines a little bit better, which is understandable. I actually might put him at center instead. He does have 2 higher face-off points than Jermaine, but maybe he doesn't. I'm not entirely sure now. Let's actually take a look at some of the stats here on some of our higher overall players. So Jermaine, 89 deking, 94 hand-eye, 88 passing, 90 puck control. Basically all his stats are actually pretty decent, but his durability is 60. As you can see, that's pretty darn low. The little niche aspect for him in the movies was that he was very fragile. He kept getting injured. He's the most injured player in the entire movie franchise, but he is the 2nd best player that ever played on the Mighty Ducks, next to Adam Banks, which is obviously why he's 1 point lower in overall. If we go to Adam Banks here, basically the majority of stats are in the 90s. Pretty much, except for like some of his defensive stats and physical stats. I tried to make him more so to be like Patrick Kane-esque, so really good shot, really good speed, really good hands, but he kind of has a little bit of you know, he's lacking in that physical area, in that defensive aspect of the game. So you know, that's basically as accurate as I can make it. I feel like that is the accurate representation of him as a player. Then we have Ken Wu on the right wing. Basically, he is just really good at passing and really bad at shooting, and he's really fast as well. That's really it. He's horrible on defense, horrible shot, horrible physical play, but he's really good at skating and has pretty decent hands and passing. You know, that's kind of his character, was known for speed. I just wanted to give him a little bit extra boost in terms of how good his hands were in the game, just to bring up our team a little bit, because if I made everything extremely accurate, where I put everything down to like 50 or 0 or something like that, this team would be absolutely horrendous. Then we have Connie Moreau, our second line left winger. Basically pretty average player. I don't want to say she's bad in any aspect or good. She's just pretty much just average as a whole. Charlie Conway, our second line center, elite player, high potential. Everyone in this is about 24. I said everyone's birth year to either 96 or 97, by the way, and everyone's either on a 5-year contract or a 3-year contract, just depending on what movie they came in on. If they're really bad, I made their contract a little bit shorter, just so we can get a little bit of interesting things during trade deadlines and free agency and stuff like that. But Conway, I basically tried to model him after someone like Taves, where he's, you know, a good team player, has decent defensive stats, kind of, you know, subpar offensive, but good at passing, decent at skating, somewhere in that realm. Mendoza, speedster, 99 in all skating stats except for balance, which probably could have got up a little bit more, but he does fall quite a lot. So that's kind of indicative of it. Everything else is kind of really subpar, so he's kind of like a glass cannon. He's going to get knocked down really easily, but he's really fast. Hopefully he can do some interesting things on the ice. It'll be very interesting to see how well this team performs. Dwayne Robertson, the Cowboy, as you may remember him. Basically his hands are crazy. That's, you know, he's got the best hands on the team, probably, next to Adam Banks maybe. Other than that, just not that great of a player. Good hands, good skating, physical is kind of meh, defense is kind of bad, shooting is bad, and senses also bad. We have Jesse Hall, kind of average player, I want to say. You know, there's no real standout aspect of his game. There's nothing really bad either. I mean, he's a third liner, so it is what it is. Averman, pretty much just bad in general. Once again, very fragile player, 36 durability, likes to get in some scrummages and stuff like that. Skating, not that great. Shooting is kind of okay, but he's someone's going to get knocked around pretty easily. And then our fourth line, we actually have a player who's a free agent, because there's not enough players to actually fill up all the forwards. We have Terry Hall, who's Jesse Hall's brother, younger brother, who's pretty damn bad. Obviously 68, it's pretty low. That's really not even like AHL material. And just looking at his stats, everything's just like mid 70s and lower than that. A few things are in the 80s. I did give him a little bit of speed and stuff in that aspect as well, just kind of help him out a little bit. His speed's okay, shooting's okay, everything else is just really bad. And then Tammy Duncan, who is really good at skating. She's a figure skater, if you remember that. Everything else is basically like 70 or lower, so she's going to be someone who's really good at skating. I could actually mess around with these lines a little bit to get some interesting outcomes. So I'm going to leave them like this, just because this is going to give us the best opportunity here. Moving on to defense, we got the Bash brothers, man. These are the two guys I look up to. If you see my streams when I'm playing ESHL and I go for hits, these are my guys right here, Fulton Reed and Dean Portman. Both of them have completely maxed out checking stats. Not necessarily aggressiveness, but all the checking, fighting, durability, strength, 99. Obviously on Fulton Reed, slapshot power is 99 overall, with his crazy shooting capabilities in terms of how powerful his shot is. But the key thing is he misses 1 out of every 4 shots, but I gave him a 50% accuracy because if it was 25, representing 1 out of every 4 shots, pretty much would be absolutely horrendous and he would never get any goals. So this is a really interesting player. I'd actually really want to use him in game and see how well that shooting stat actually affects him. Then obviously we have Dean Portman, who 99 and everything. Durability, little bit lower than 99 just because he's a little bit more injury prone, stuff of that nature. But he's the Bash brother who really is like the enforcer here. So, you know, not really great offensive stats, but defense and physical, that's his wheelhouse. We have Russ Tyler here, the knuckle puck king. Everything is pretty much like low 80s to mid 80s in terms of like defensive stats. And then obviously the knuckle puck, we got to give him some good slap shot stats. So accuracy for slap shots 94, power is 90, so he's going to be pretty good at taking those slap shots. That's what we want, one good offensive defenseman. I probably should have made him an offensive defenseman, to be completely honest, but no big deal there. Peter Mark, kind of getting into the players who really haven't had much of an impact on the series, where they only played one or so game. There's a lot of players on this team that only had like 1 game in the movies before they left. Like in the first movie when they brought in Adam Banks and a bunch of characters left, they'd only played 1 game, so there's not much to go off of them. This is one of them. Peter Mark, just not really great stats overall, just kind of middle of the road average. And then we have Tommy Duncan, who's Tammy's brother, who's pretty bad, to be completely honest. I tried to be a little bit you know, favoring of some of these players that were a little bad just to make it so that we can compete in the NHL. And then we have a defenseman to fill in the roster slots on our 3rd line, which was just a free agent. And then obviously if we move into the goalies, we have Julie Gaffney, who is a absolute stud in net. She could, you know, potentially win some trophies for being the best goalie in the NHL. That's all I'm saying. You know, that's all I'm saying. She may be one of the best goalies in the NHL. Just throwing that one out there. I don't know if she's better than Carey Price, but she damn well could be. Just throwing that one out there. She's our starter. And then hopefully, God, I hope we don't end up playing any games with Goldberg, because he's just bad, man. I gave him 99 durability, though, just to be generous, because Goldberg's never getting injured, to be completely honest. And passing 93, because obviously he's a defenseman, and that's where he's going to be strong. And everything else, pretty much useless, going to be completely honest with him. Speed, low. Endurance, low. Everything is just not looking good for Goldberg. But that is what our team's looking like, guys. I feel like we should sim through like the first month and then leave the rest for the second episode, because obviously I took up quite a lot of time going over the team and showing you guys what everything looks like. Let's get a feel for what the actual beginning of the year will look like for us. We come in for like way under the salary cap big time. I think we're in like the 60 something, 66, 69 million-ish mark, so we do have some salary cap room. Actually, while we're simming, I might as well I'll go to the calendar here. While we're simming, I actually want to go over some rules. So first and foremost, I'm not gonna trade for any players, I don't believe, at any point. Draft picks, I'll trade for draft picks. That's not a big deal. You know, I'm not going to trade for any players or anything of that nature. If you guys want me to sign free agents and use them on the team, let me know. I want to get your feedback before I really let's auto sign promotion nights, before I actually like get into the second episode and start doing more simming and stuff like that. I want to know if you guys want me to sign free agents. Well, I guess I'll set the scout here just so it doesn't bother me that much. Should we sign free agents in the off season? Actually, yeah, forwards will do. Should I put draft picks on the team in future years? Obviously, I'm going to have to at some point, because there's no way that this team is really going to last that long, to be completely honest. So I'd love to know your guys' opinion on what I should do with the team going into the years where I may lose some players to free agency, or I may not want to bring, or, you know, just because that's the way that the game works in terms of okay, well, we starting off with the injury. That's cool. I guess I'm gonna turn on assistant coach best roster, just because we only have a few you know, situations where, as far as injury players go, we only have 18 players on the team. That's kind of a problem. Brad Hunt has been injured. Mild concussion. Oh, this is great. I probably should have turned best rosters on with the coach. Multi-Minneapolis players. All right, let's just keep replacing. So far, we're 1-2. This is not good, man. Not looking good so far. Oh my God, we're starting off 2-3 for the year. Beat Boston and Buffalo. That's actually surprising. Moving on to St. Louis, coming in here 3-3. Can we get a little bit better of a start to the season? Man, Duncan injured again. Separated shoulder, man. I'm telling you, this is really gonna hurt. All right, 2 Minneapolis. Okay, this is interesting. So, I said I wasn't gonna accept trades in this, and I'm gonna continue with that. That's a pretty good trade, though. I would absolutely take Nyquist for this. I don't need the 2 picks from later on at all, but I'm gonna end up declining it. I want to see what our team is gonna do as a unit in the first year without making any trades before we decide if, you know, trades should or should not be allowed in this series as a whole. Eventually, at some point, they're gonna have to be. Averman has been injured, pulled groin. God, man, I really should have put edit lines manually on, because this is absolutely brutal. We got a trade coming in: Brassard and Burowicki for 2 draft picks in 2018 and 2019. I'd love to take that trade, to be completely honest. Brassard's not bad. Burowicki could be good eventually, but we're not accepting trades at this point, so that's kind of unfortunate. Starting off the season 4-5, could be worse. Okay, we're 5-6 now. Moving on, 6-6. If we can finish over 500 for the first year, I'd be pretty damn happy. But that is the first month here today. I'm going to end this episode a little short. We'll finish off the first year going to the playoffs in the second episode. I didn't want to take up too much of your time in the launch or premiere of this series. I just wanted to give you guys a little feel of what we're working with going on. Moving on to the future, if you guys want me to do longer episodes, do a full... I'll probably be doing a full season every episode, but I want you guys to give me your feedback on, you know, what we should do as far as free agents go, as far as trades go in future seasons, and as well as how we should handle prospects coming up, because obviously all of our players are under the age of 25, so we do have at least 15 to 20 years of quality hockey from hopefully half our team at least. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please drop a like on the video down below. I put a lot of effort into this, a lot of time going to create the team, a lot of thought process going into all the attributes, everything like that. So a like would be highly appreciated. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Feel free to follow me on Twitter. My link is in the description. And as always, guys, take it easy. Rocks on my wrist,